special report for you from our environment team here at France 24, who've been taking a look at whether humans and wolves can coexist together in modern Europe. Now, Switzerland is just the latest country on the continent to adapt to wolves returning. Sheep there are increasingly being attacked, but an NGO is offering a rather unique service to try and help. Our down-to-earth team have the story.
Nestled in the heart of the Swiss Alps, the Valais region is home to a rare breed of sheep, the black nose. At just 23 years old, Oliver is the proud owner of a flock of 75 sheep.
We have a fine sheep right here, with a shiny coat from head to toe.
Raised for meat and wool, the fluffy animals also help preserve the landscape. Without their grazing, forests would rapidly colonize green pastures. About 12,000 black-nosed sheep roam the hills of Valais, but the return of a predator has sheep owners fearing for the survival of their livestock.
I've lost 2 sheep to wolves in the last 5 years. I've had limited casualties, but others have lost entire flocks.
Nationwide, over 1,000 farm animals were killed in wolf attacks in 2023. In response, Swiss authorities have relaxed the rules for hunting wolves, which remain a protected species. Last winter, 46 were shot dead, 15% of the Swiss wolf population. But emotions still run high here. Last summer, Oliver and a group of sheep owners decided to turn to an NGO for help.
We'll keep watch over their flocks at night, so we'll take over when the shepherds or farmers are done for the day. We'll set up surveillance perimeter around the flock to prevent predators, mainly wolves, from getting close to the animals and attacking them.
Opal was founded with the belief that man and wolf can coexist, offering its service free of charge. This summer, nearly 450 people volunteered to keep guard. As the sun begins to set, it's time for Suzanne and Martine to take position.
Allô Martine, t'es là? Ça marche, ça marche.
Night goggles and a whistle to complete a wolf deterrent kit. They set off on separate rounds.
Ça joue, Suzanne?
Oui, je rien observé pour l'instant.
Rien à signaler?
Non. Alors, si je devais voir un loup,
if I see a wolf, I would have to call my colleague with the walkie-talkie. We would then observe its behavior, if it gets closer or not. We would then speak loudly, followed by the whistle. Then, we move on to the flashlight. If that doesn't work, we have a foghorn as a last resort.
But the NGO has never had to use it. Just the sound of the human voice and some light should be enough to scare them away.
Predator has recently made its presence felt. Just a day earlier, the 2 volunteers spotted a wolf racing across the hill in broad daylight.
Last night was more stressful, thinking maybe that wolf was going to come back, so we had to be on our guard. They're out there, there's no doubt about that, so you have to be vigilant.
A school teacher and an architect, Suzanne and Martine received training to become Opal night watchers, both women joining with the goal of protecting livestock and wolf.
We can give a bit of our time and energy to help sheep owners and prevent a massacre, whether it's on the side of sheep or wolves. I think it's the fairest option in order to find a middle ground in this conflict between sheep and wolf.
Since its creation, the NGO has recorded 45 instances of wolves approaching sheep, of which 35 required action. For the two volunteers, it's the end of a 3-night adventure with no casualties to report. As for the flock, it's the beginning of a new journey towards greener pastures, where they will be greeted by a fresh pair of watchful eyes.
And our Environment Editor, Valerie Dekimpe, who worked on that report, is with me in the studio now. Hello, Valerie.
Hi.
So, wolves present then extraordinarily in quite a few European countries now. Do we know how many? And can you tell us a bit more about how they've come to reclaim all this territory?
I mean, well, historically, wolves were present across Europe, but because they posed a threat to livestock, they were virtually exterminated in the 19th and 20th century. They were hunted down, even poisoned. Now, the wolf population has bounced back to at least 20,000 wolves present in at least 23 EU countries. Interestingly, though, unlike other predators like lynxes and brown bears, wolves were not reintroduced by humans, by conservationists. They just began to naturally reclaim lost territory in the 1970s as more people moved away from rural areas to cities. And with a decrease in agricultural land, the natural habitat for wolves and their prey also grew. And that brings us to 1990, when wolves obtained a protected status, strictly protected status in the EU. Switzerland, where we filmed that report, is not in the EU, but they also have protected status for wolves. Essentially, it means that you can still kill them if they are dangerous to animals and people, but under very strict rules. And in France, for example, is another country that has a sizable population of wolves, about 1,000 of them. And scientists believe that they crossed from Italy through the Alps, and now they can be found in almost every single region in France.
That's so interesting. And you tell me that their return has become a political issue as well.
Right.
Last week, EU member states voting in favour of lowering protections for wolves. What impact will that have?
It certainly has become a politically divisive issue, and that latest EU move is, of course, in response to an outcry from farmers who have suffered losses. They have lost livestock in wolf attacks. And so what this vote could mean is downgrading that strictly protected status that I was talking about to just protected. So again, you can still currently, and with the current rules, you can still kill them if they pose a danger, but with very strict rules. With this new status, rules could be loosened and would be not as strict as they are now. That vote still needs to be formally adopted by EU environment ministers before they can take it to the Berne Convention that actually designed this protected status, and only then they would be able to amend rules. So it's not happening yet. But for environmentalists, they say that this could lead to looser hunting rules. And in reaction to this vote, they have actually said that this was politically motivated and not actually based on science. It is important to keep into perspective that livestock losses remained really small, actually, in Europe. According to an EU report published in 2023, only 0.06% of the bloc's 60 million sheep are mauled to death every single year. There have also been no reports of fatal attacks on humans, also important to keep in mind. And scientists also warn that more hunting could actually backfire because it could lead to wolf populations dropping below survival levels, and it could actually lead to more attacks because if you disrupt wolf packs, that could send lone wolf, vulnerable wolves hunting, getting closer to farms, and essentially seeing more attacks.
Valerie Dekimpe, our Environment Editor, thanks very much for your reporting.